Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, joined, as always, by the best of the West. You cannot forget about Sara Marshall. Back for another Pitts and Sarah's wrestling show. Sara, what's poppin', girl?
I am trying to keep my cat away from me right now.
Your cat is like the number one enemy, right, for you. You guys are feuding right now.
Yeah. We're always feuding when the camera's on.
That's the point. You keep it
Cause
in the ring. You keep your feud
she's
in the ring.
yeah, it's just yeah, she's a little hyper right now, so it's making things a little
Flashing
bit
lights.
worse, you know? You know when cats get hyper and they just run around the room? That's kind of like what she's doing right now.
See,
With her big eyes like
the cats that I'm familiar with hide under wheels of trucks. My buddy's
okay.
cat used to hide under a wheel of their
All
truck. It
right.
was very very bizarre.
Okay.
Um, oh, okay. But yeah, this week on the show we are going to be talking about WrestleMania. All right, it's Mania
Early.
season. Early predictions because only four, only four of the matches have been officially announced, while others have been floating around the interweb. And Sara and I are going to be breaking that down, giving our little predictions a little bit beforehand, along with just introducing the podcast world into this stage of the road to WrestleMania, because this is the first one we've done in a bit. We were take a little hiatus, but we're back, and we are back, Sara, with starting with my favorite segment, I think, of the week: Rose, Bud, and Lemon. Don't be a lemon, Sara. Be a rosebud. And I think my rosebud, it kind of is about WWE
Okay.
because of uh, the people in it, but it's actually YouTube. Okay, YouTube. Shout out to YouTube for the algorithm, whatever the case may be, for giving me Ring of Honor, old Ring of Honor
Mm.
matches, and the matches that they're throwing at me are I think the entire saga of Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen.
Are
For
you logged into your YouTube or are you on
yes,
like our channel? Oh, okay.
no, I'm on mine,
Oh, okay.
and I get Kevin Steen versus El Generico, which for anyone who
Yeah,
is just a
Sammy.
WWE fan is it is Sami Zayn. But I love it because this adds more substance to their little feud or whatever it is going on now, because now I'm seeing the how deep it goes outside of the company. And
Mhm.
that's what I think makes this little dynamic so great, is that these guys are brothers for life, ride or dies, because they legitimately are in real life. They did the whole traveling together from every promotion. And not only were they just there together, they teamed together in Ring of Honor and were I think they had one of the best title reigns along with the Briscoes, one of those. And then you flip it and they have some of the best feuds in the company history. Take that over to WWE, and I'll tease my theory that I could probably go into a little bit more. But I feel like with this, we could see somewhat of a potential invasion angle coming in the next year or so, with the new dynamic, and how, if you look at all the top guys or a lot of the bigger names, either whether in the main title picture or the ICUS, they're all that Ring of Honor type that came in or started there, came into NXT, worked their way up, and now are in the main roster. And then you still have those WWE homegrown talents. I feel like there's something there, especially with Cody Rhodes coming back and Seth Rollins, who was not Seth Rollins in Ring of Honor. He was Tyler Black. There's a lot of guys like that that you could set up something, I think, pretty unique. I don't care that AEW has the rights to Ring of Honor. You can turn in your own way. I'm very thankful for my YouTube algorithm this week.
All right. Well, that is good. It's better than mine, I guess, when you text me and be like, "Oh, you're really into tiny homes, huh?" And I'm like, "God damn it." Like, how did you know?
The funniest, and that's the thing where I was doing the clips first, so I'm on the YouTube, and I'm not kidding. When I see your suggested videos, people would probably, and I feel like the gut reaction is like, "Oh my god, no, I'm sorry, like, it's so weird," but, like, I'm so fascinated with people's YouTube algorithms and, like, search history, like, stuff like when you open their homepage, what the hell's coming up
Mhm.
on their suggested. I'm so into that, and the fact that it was similar to mine in the wrestling category, but then you have, like, pop culture here, and then what's it like to live in a tiny home, like, stuff like that. It's like, "Oh, alright, so there's interest so outside of there." I like knowing that.
I know. I tend to try and watch videos that I'm or people that I'm subscribed to on my computer instead of killing my phone battery.
I don't blame you. Yeah,
So, if you
totally.
see that I watch, like, a specific Sims YouTuber, it's because 'cause I'm subscribed to him and I love
I
to
did
watch
see a
his
Sims. I did see a
I like
Sims video in there.
yeah,
I
I
did.
like to watch people who build in The Sims and stuff, so, like, I will watch that every day or yeah, so, like, tiny homes, I fell down a rabbit hole one night and I was like,
We all do.
"Wow, this is so fascinating," and then you texted me saying that and I was like, "I've been outed. I've been
That's
outed. My secret life has been outed."
yeah.
Um, so I would say my rosebud is kind of similar. It's wrestling related, but I think yeah, it's not like Raw or SmackDown. But Cody did an interview this week, and he was asked what his plans were post WrestleMania. And he's talked about two people he wants to face after Mania, no matter if he wins or if he loses. And he said Edge, which I was like, that's that just excited me because I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I love the idea of it possibly happening. He also said Johnny Gargano, and it just got me excited because although, we're obviously really excited about Mania and what's going to happen, I'm like, this just gets me excited for even afterwards because Cody is doing great, obviously, but I love the possibility of stuff like that happening and those matchups. So I'm like, this stuff I think that sometimes you kind of think that like the best is coming and ending at Mania and then you kind of like don't think about what's happening
Yeah,
afterwards.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
so the fact that he's talking about it and then it's like, okay, I'm excited for Mania, but then it's like, ooh, what's going to happen afterwards? I just was like, I don't know, just excited at the thought of what might
No, I get
still
yeah, I'm
still
with
be
that.
coming.
'Cause it's a very interesting thought to have, like, alright, well, we already saw some seeds planted already with this, and you could have him face Sami Zayn to start off, or even if he loses in some world, where does he go from here? I mean, Johnny Gargano just an easy one to throw out there. Edge, you could do something because he has to feud with somebody else,
Mhm.
other than Finn Balor, so that's an interesting one. Yeah, I'm so excited for those little matches and feuds to come about after Mania.
Mhm. That's
Um,
what lemon. What's your lemon?
my lemon is it's weird. I don't really have one particular. Um, I'm gonna just go with the easy one here, and if I think of another one, I will shout it out. But as I'm rewatching NXT right now, or not rewatching it, I'm watching it for the first time. Um, I don't care that Braun Breaker is champion, and
Mm.
just am done with him as champion. And we're getting
It
to the fact that I'm cheering for Jinder Mahal. Like I am on in
but
his section.
that was what happened at the show, though. Like,
I'm not.
they turned on him. And I
Oh,
think
oh,
that's the thing is because I think that I mean, I understand the angle they're going for having him be, like, a long champion, but there is a time and place where you need to recognize that it's run their course. Like, it's run its
yes,
course. I think that the fans let, Shawn Michaels know
yeah.
um that they're ready for a new champion. So I don't think that you're not an outlier in this right now. A lot of
And then
people are vocalizing that.
another lemon. Just I thought of it now because it's on the similar idea, but different company. So Christian is in AEW for anyone who didn't know, and he has been feuding with Jungle Boy Jack Perry, or if he's just Jack Perry now, for like I think a year and a half. Be in do with just because he was out with injuries and whatnot. And I'm just fucking sick of it. And I'm gonna bring it up in the 3 count, the pay-per-view that's coming up on Sunday, Revolution. Very excited for that. Like I am so excited for that AEW pay-per-view. And when that match comes on, that's when I'm planning my bathroom break, smoke break,
Mm,
eating break, whatever.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm planning my break around that because it's just I'm sorry, I don't care about it, and I like Jack Perry. I
Mm,
think he's very talented in the ring, and Christian's even better on his own heel doing that type of shit. But just can we end it? Can
mhm.
we just end this already? Yeah, it's annoying.
Um, my lemon would be that I'm kind of disappointed with what's going on with LA Knight. I
Yeah.
feel like, the feud with Bray Wyatt was exciting just because it was Bray's first feud and it was like, okay, cool. Like this proves how much they believe in LA Knight, and they had their match, and then after that it just kind of died. Like nothing. I mean, I get it if they didn't want to continue the feud. It was like, okay, like they had their match at
Yeah.
Rumble and they're not continuing it, but they basically kept LA off TV, and then they just have him randomly come back and there's just nothing going on for him right now. And then we are closing in on WrestleMania and he's not on the card, and it's like, I mean, it's he still has time, but even before we started talking or before we started recording, we were talking about how there might be um pre-show matches or battle royal matches, and I would hate that LA gets put in one of those because he's good enough to have a match of his own. So, I think as far as criticism towards the creative team and Triple H taking over, I think that's one of my biggest gripes right now because oh my gosh, this cat, dude. I've put
Just
her
let
down.
it play out. In the words
It's
of the
it's
great Matt
because
Hardy,
she
let it
can
play out.
sometimes will click out of my screen because my computer is a touch
Oh,
screen.
geez, yeah,
So
we
when she
can't.
rubs her face on it, she sometimes exits out of the internet.
When she's about to attack you from
She's
backstage.
going full blown heel and I don't like it. She's Hollywood Hogan right now and I'm fucked up. Um
Is she the third man?
See, like she just clicked on like the private chat. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so I just would I have a problem with that right now, and so I'm hoping that I'll be proven wrong, that something will come about in the next few weeks, but I'm not feeling too optimistic, honestly.
Ooh, I like this comment from David. I want your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Believe that LA Knight has a
Oh,
segment with Miz at Mania with Miz as the host, and that's going to be fucking awesome. And if it does happen, I agree, David. I do like that.
I like the idea of that and I think it could be good. I just wish that it was going to be more. I guess they could like tack on like a last minute match between them, I guess. Like if they're going to
Yeah,
fight over who's the real representative of LA and Hollywood and like who's the real A-lister, I guess. But I just kind of I don't know. I don't know.
what if they do that and Miz is in a suit or whatever, and he's like, I can't fight in a suit. We saw what happened last time. I lost all this, and then they have someone like bring him ring gear, or he does like they pull off the suit or something, and he's in his ring gear. I don't know, like
Yeah.
something along those theatrics. Hollywood
Mhm.
play into it. That would make more sense. And I mean, the LA Knight and the Miz would be a fantastic mini feud that could just get some fans a nice pop. Yeah, exactly. It'd be awesome. I would be, yeah, it would be awesome. There it is. A little delay there. Been up since 5. But yeah, I agree with that. I think that LA Knight has been kind of underutilized other than his match with
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston. And obviously the Bray Wyatt feud. Like, he has been doing much.
Yeah, and it sucks because was so over, and it's now they're just kind of like, we're not doing anything. It's like, but why though? Like, whatever. But
So
anyway,
much.
um, did you want to introduce everything? Because this one's yours.
Yeah, this is no. Yeah, that's all our lemon and rosebud. I was waiting to see if you had another
No.
issue with the week, but you don't. So it's a great time to kick off our WrestleMania discussion for the day. First time we're bringing it up on the podcast side of things. WrestleMania season is upon us. It is about 30 days, 31 days, I think. Uh, the last time I checked from
Yeah.
when we are recording. And this might be the most hype mania in a very long time, specifically for the man who's running the operation. This is obviously Papa Paul's first mania as
Mm.
head of creative, and what a mania to have as your first, with it being in Hollywood. It's advertised to be the biggest WrestleMania in history.
Even though they
They have
say that every week.
they say
Every
it
year, I
every
mean, every
single
year.
week. And they just sold, or they started selling, not sold, but started selling some unreleased tickets. They were found in the vault or in somewhere at the headquarters that they're going to release out into the
Mm.
public, and those were going to sell out in 15 minutes. It's it's a lot of hype around the show, and today we're going to specifically talk about this show, and then we'll, as the weeks progress, we'll do some fun stuff. But this show is so hyped with all the names and stars and match types around it. Like, it, I don't think I've been this excited for WrestleMania since college.
Which was like 2 years ago, but
It
so
was like 5.
okay.
Okay.
I haven't
I'm
been this
not
excited since, high school, which was like 3 years ago, but, it's no, I'm just kidding.
At least I'm not an 8-year-old watching the Shield heel turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm excited too. I think, last year, if I remember correctly, I was, like, excited about some, but I feel like, there will be, like, 2 or 3 matches that I'm like, "That's why I'm watching, for those 2 or 3." But this year, I think I'm excited for, like, every match or potential match. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that I'm like, like, I think that's the part that's the most exciting, is that I'm looking forward to the entire show and not just, oh, last year I think the matches that I cared about the most were on night 1. And so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll watch night 2 because I mean, I have to at
You
this
got it. You're
point.
brought in.
Yeah, but then it was like I think it was 2 or 3 matches that I cared about the most were on night 1, and so I was like, "Okay, like, I'm good, like, I don't need to watch
Yeah.
anymore." But this year, with what will likely be the card, I'm like, "No, I wanna see every single one of these matches." Even if one of them or a few of them ends up being complete shit, I'm like, "No, I still wanna watch it."
What are your thoughts on the 2 nights? Let me switch
I
into 2
love
nights.
it. I love it.
Me too. I
I
really
think
do.
that other than being great for business, obviously, because you fill a stadium twice, I like it because you can fit more people on the show, matches can go longer, um, and it feels like you're getting more for your money. You know what I mean? Like, if this obviously we're not living in the era of paying $75 for WrestleMania anymore,
No.
but I feel like that makes it feel like it is the biggest show of the year, whereas if it's on one night and it's still only 4 hours, it doesn't feel any different than a Royal Rumble or Hell in a Cell or Money in the
Yeah.
Bank. Like, there's nothing special about it except for the name. And so I think making it 2 nights, you have to, so many more matches to look forward to. You're almost guaranteed to see your favorite because there's so much more time. And I don't know, I feel like that kind of just, yeah, like it just makes it that much more special.
Special's a good word. I think it's a good word because you alluded to it. I'm saying kids, but fans get to see their favorite star, whether it is the Cody Rhodes Royal Rumble winner or the lesser known guy, but he's a fan favorite and he gets over with the crowd instantly. You're going to
Mhm.
have them at the show. And it's another thing to just have guys on the show. It's have the stars on the show because then it gets them experience. It
Mhm.
gets them in the mix. And it's just so brilliant in my eyes to do that. I mean, obviously the business side, but I mean, yeah, it gives that lore back to it. So I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of it. And after doing my rewatches, which we'll get to in the 3 count, um, dude, I've watched enough already, but I'll save a little bit. But WrestleMania has grown so big that like
Yeah.
this was the next step.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing too is if you watch not you don't even have to start from the beginning because that's what you've been doing. Even if you watched 5 to 10 years ago, you can see how much grander it's become and I think that that's the right direction to go in because if they, they constantly compare it to the NFL Super Bowl and there is a feeling of superiority when you think when you're watching the Super Bowl. Like it does feel different than a normal regular season game, and I
Mm,
think that that was what was missing a lot from the Royal Rumble. I'm sorry, the WrestleMania.
yeah.
Um, and I think that the direction that they've been going in has made it, like I said, it's made it feel much more grand.
Oh,
So the
for
2
sure.
nights I think is why I like it for that thing too, just because there's no other pay-per-view that they have on during the year that's 2 nights.
No
So
promotion ever does 2 night pay-per-views, especially the way and the fashion that WWE does it. It's just
mhm.
incredible.
Yeah.
And it really feels like this year, and you could disagree with me, whatever, but it feels like this year with this Mania, we're hitting a reset button. We're hitting a reset button not only in the company, but with everything like just going on. It feels like we're getting that jump start, that Mania in Tampa that should have happened at Ralph
Mm,
Raymond, whatever it is, stadium. That was that big, unbelievable feel. We're getting that this year in Hollywood, and this is, I wouldn't say make or break, but this is a massive, massive opportunity for the Triple H regime
agreed.
to deliver, stand and deliver. If anyone gets my reference there, it's on the champ.
Okay.
But yeah, no. So let's talk about some matches since we've kind of alluded to it. But let's
Okay.
talk. Let's get to some matches, potential matches.
So, believe it or not, there are actually only 4 confirmed matches for WrestleMania right now, which I was kind of shocked about because I think we've been talking about what the matches are going to be for weeks now, but there really is only 4 confirmed at this point. So, let's start with the least important, I guess, which
Yeah,
would
we'll work our
be
way up.
Brock Lesnar versus Omos.
Which he personally accepted and was for this match. All right,
And from
my
what
guy
I've heard,
gets it.
this was Vince McMahon's idea, which the second that I saw that, I was like, of course it was. Didn't I say that this was a Vince McMahon type match? Didn't I
You,
say that?
no, yeah, because it is a Vince McMahon type
I
match.
know, but
However,
I
there
wanted
are
to give
Vince
myself a
McMahon.
pat on the back for being correct.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll
Because,
give you. There you go. Well,
yeah, thank
there you
you.
go.
Thank you.
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
it is. It is. It
Yes.
is a Vince McMahon type match. But I think I said this on the Raw Rewind: is that you need these two colossal humans to just meet in the ring. Okay, if you just need to have them face off, I don't care what the result of this match is. To be honest, whatever way they go, they'll find a way to turn a diamond out of shit. That's what I want to see with this match. I don't want to see a 15-minute wrestling match. I want to see like 5 to 8 minutes of these dudes just fucking barreling each other over, some slams, and maybe like 4 things breaking in the meantime. I don't.
My my guess, because I guess if we're gonna make predictions of what we think is gonna happen in the matches, you kind of touched on it when we talked about Raw, was the Hurt Business potential interference. So that's why originally when I see this, I'm like, okay, Brock Lesnar's winning. But I think that if you get the Hurt Business involved, there's no way that Omos loses. Plus, I don't I know that Lesnar doesn't. I mean, it's not like he loses all the time, but he also doesn't need to win. And I feel like if you're
No.
putting him in a match with Omos, then you have to have Omos win. I mean, not to mention, this is a storyline that they literally just put together a week ago. So it's not like there's a lot of history behind this or any sort of gigantic meaning, where one of them has to win because it's like, oh well, no, this is what happened and they have to prove that they're whatever. There's none of that here.
No,
So
yeah.
if Omos wins, it's not like Lesnar's losing some sort of legendary match or something.
Yeah.
um but we know that MVP is going to be there, and we know Lashley's going to probably have a match, which we'll get into later. But yeah, if we're going to see a reunion of the Hurt Business, I find it hard to imagine that they don't get involved in this match to help Omos win.
And imagine the Hurt Business reuniting at WrestleMania. Now that's a WrestleMania moment.
I mean,
Just
yeah, and it's funny because like Shelton and Cedric have never really broken up, but they kind of only use them and bill them as the Hurt Business when they just
yeah.
randomly put them in a match. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it was like 2 weeks ago, they were like the Hurt Business versus whoever. And I was like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
what? The last time we saw Shelton, we were all applauding him and like crying because of his 20-year anniversary. And now we're
Yeah.
supposed to hate him again because he's in the Hurt Business. I'm like, I'm so confused.
It's the
But
beauty of professional wrestling.
yeah. So, do you have any other predictions, or do you just think that's how it's going to go too?
No, that is if it doesn't go down like that, I'm gonna be a sad champion.
Well, there is plenty of time left
Plenty
to
of time.
change, but I mean, I don't know how they really make this
Right.
into a more like substantive feud or personal feud. I
Yeah.
mean, at this point, it's more of a feud between MVP and Lesnar than it is with Lesnar and Omos. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's plenty of time, but I feel like getting the Hurt Business involved would be the most entertaining for people.
Oh,
After we see big meaty men slapping meat.
big meaty men slapping meat.
Even if it is for 5 to 8 minutes, like you said, because big meaty men slap meat for 5 to 8 minutes. I mean, I'm just, I mean,
It's some may
put
like that, some may not.
I'm not here to judge.
Dealer's
Uh,
choice.
So then one of the first of the women's matches, we have Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm excited about this match, and I think Rhea is going to win. I need Rhea to win.
Yeah, she's gonna win. She is the most over woman right now in the division, I would say. With everyone, she's just dominant. I mean,
I
it's
feel
kind of in this era.
Yeah, and I feel like when we look at what's been happening with the Judgment Day over the past however long they've been together, Rhea has kind of been the one that, although she's had some really awesome moments and gotten into the face of men and these random video segments of her busting in on the Mysterios during holidays and
Oh my
whatever, like
god,
that's
the
been
best.
great, but she's not really had her moment the way that Finn has, or Damien just had elimination chamber, and Dominic is all over the place, but Rhea really hasn't had like her moment. And I think this will be that for her. And I feel like they were grooming her for this moment. The reason why she's as over and as huge and as amazing as she is because they were preparing for her to be the face of SmackDown. And it would be a huge, huge, giant mistake if they didn't give her the title.
Agreed. Now, what happens with Judgment Day?
This is okay. So I was talking about this on Twitter earlier. I haven't looked into it, and you've alluded to it, so I don't know. But people on Twitter, when I said something like this, because Finn had said in an interview this past week that after Mania, his plan is to expand to the Judgment Day.
Yes.
So they were like, who would you like to see in the Judgment Day? And I was like, okay, well, if Rhea wins the SmackDown Women's Championship, then wouldn't Judgment Day kind of be over? And someone responded to me and said, no, because WWE is going to be having a draft after Mania. So if that's the case, then I would say that Judgment Day is not going away. However,
No
we
one's
don't have
been.
confirmation of that yet. And
I
usually the draft is not in the spring or summer. So, I I mean,
Yes,
we
it
didn't
is.
have one. So, in the last year, they didn't have one in 2022. So, I mean, I guess they can kind of put it
When
wherever
they
they
brought
want,
it
but
back, it was in July of, like,
it was in
20
October.
no, the first one they
I
brought back with, like, Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon.
I'm saying recently they've had them in
Oh,
October,
but
but
still, they wouldn't but it doesn't matter, it's
so well,
WWE.
I know, but there's a significant difference between April and October is what I'm
It
saying. So it's
is,
like
but what I'm saying is now it's a new era, and you can
yes.
just
So that
do
I
whatever the
know
fuck
that's
you
all I
want.
was saying is like if they
Oh,
did it when they normally do, then yeah, the Judgment Day is going to be kind of weird if we have to wait another 6 months to see what happens. But if it is going to happen after Mania, then I does that mean that they would just be moving factions? So instead of being like, "Oh, okay, so Rhea's on SmackDown because she's the champion," and then it's like when they do the draft, it's like, "I'm taking all of Judgment Day." Instead of splitting them the way they used to be like, "I'm taking Jeff Hardy," and it's like, "Wait, what?" And then Matt goes to the other show. I'm
yeah.
like, that's the only way it would work because I can't imagine that any person drafting SmackDown is gonna be like, you know what? I actually really want Dominic Mysterio. Like, he's one of my draft picks. Like, no, he needs to just be combined with
He
other
goes
draft
where
picks.
mommy goes.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying, no one's gonna waste a pick on just Dominic when there's like other guys that you can
It's
choose from.
terrible value. It's terrible value in the
Yeah.
draft.
No, you don't. Yeah. So,
He's an undrafted free agent, alright?
yeah, he's waiting. He's just waiting for someone
He's
to pick
waiting in
him
that
up.
green room.
Yeah, he's just waiting. So he's in catering. He's just waiting. Um, but yeah, so if that happens, then I mean, I hadn't considered that. I think I kind of forgot about the draft, even though you mention it constantly.
'Cause
But
it has to happen. It
you
has to
know,
happen.
as much as I want to see the Bullet Club, and I still do, if that's not in the cards, then I'm fine with the Judgment Day staying together. But I couldn't think of anybody. We'll get into that conversation another day. But anyway, what are your predictions? Do you think Rhea's gonna
I
win?
think we have to put it on Rhea because Charlotte doesn't need the title. It was
She's
just you needed a bridge like Charlotte to get the title off of Rhea. I mean, Ronda.
I read about this recently too.
Ooh,
Allegedly, that's my
alleged.
favorite word right now
It's
because
alleged.
then I can't be sued. um, allegedly, they didn't have the plan for Charlotte to come back when she did. Rhonda just decided that she was going to take off the entire month of January, so they rushed Charlotte's return so that she could take the title off of Ronda so that Ronda could take the month off. That was basically the only reason why. Because I guess this is just
I
all what
hate
I've
her.
read. Apparently, the original idea was to have Charlotte versus Bianca at WrestleMania. But then they couldn't do that because Ronda was like, I'm in control of my own life, apparently. Who cares about a contract?
I can't
Um,
stand her. I
well, and that's the
really
thing too.
can't.
Imagine just being like, I'm the women's champion, but I'm taking a month off because this shit doesn't mean anything to me. Like, that's like how it feels when you hear something like
So
that.
bad. Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, as much as I hated the way that it happened and I don't like what Charlotte's doing right now, at least it means something to her, at least more so than it did to Rhonda, I guess. But Rhonda's
Yeah.
just she's just
She sucks.
she's getting
She's
on my nerves. She's getting on my nerves.
no, that sucks because Charlotte Bianca would have been a banger and should have been a banger. I mean, it's fine
Well,
because we get
Bianca
Bianca.
versus Asuka will be
Asuka
good
is
too, but
totally fine too. So
yeah,
the
yeah,
world works in mysterious ways.
yeah,
But still, I just so back to the original point of
yes, yes.
Charlotte, like she's not just because she lost the title does not mean she's going anywhere. I think I want to get that out there. Is that like just because Rhea wins, you'll still see Charlotte on SmackDown or Raw every week, depending on the draft or whatnot. But that's my thing with it, especially if there is no draft, but Rhea wins, she could just pull Champ's card and be like, no, the Judgment Day goes where I go, and then she is on both shows because
Mhm,
that's what it seems like we're doing at this point before the draft to get, stars intertwined, who works well with who, and then
mhm.
boom, you get a draft in a couple months. There it is.
There we go. Then we have the other match, women's match, which we started talking about a little bit. Bianca Belair versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And originally, if you asked me my prediction, and I'm still kind of there, I would assume that Asuka's going to win because I feel like you got to take advantage of where she's at. But I honestly don't think that I would be shocked at all if they have Bianca retain.
No, Asuka needs that moment
I
though.
mean,
There's too many title changes. Is that what your process is?
kind of, yeah, and that's the thing is part of it is the Vince McMahon creative it is stuck in my brain, and so it's like usually it'll be like, okay, a babyface one and then a heel one and then a babyface one. It's like I remember there was
There's the
one pay-per-view where every heel one, and I was shocked because I was like, that is not a Vince McMahon pay-per-view.
No.
That does not happen. But I feel like this is a pay-per-view where every title could change and that would be fine because it makes sense. But I just wouldn't be surprised because, they're kind of trying to make Bianca, other than like Becky, I guess, she's kind of the face of Raw of the women's division. So I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised, but this would also be like her third huge WrestleMania moment. So that's why I feel like give it to Asuka. Let
Asuka
Asuka
needs
have
one,
it.
especially because she won the Rumble and then lost at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Give her that where she may have not won the Rumble, but give her that Mania moment. And she's so good. Like kind of what I mentioned before, the outsiders coming in is that the New Japan style, like that's what fans like right now. That's what's in, and they want to see people like Asuka kick the shit out of everyone in the entire women's division, and she should be champion and get that run. And I wouldn't say a year and a half, but a decent lengthy run where you put on some banger matches with people. You get other superstars in the title picture that may have been off TV for a bit. So it's you got to get her off, and especially Bianca's been doing it for too long, needs a break, and needs to
Yeah.
start doing the other stuff. So I see it that way, that it just needs to change hands. I don't care who's booking it.
Yeah. So I mean, regardless of who wins, I think it's gonna be a great match
It's
anyway.
gonna be a
So
very good match.
and from even just the two women's matches that have been announced, I'm excited for both of them. So that's nice too, because sometimes that's not the case.
No,
But
it's
I
not.
feel
So
like
yeah, absolutely.
these are two that I feel like are going to deliver that you don't have to be concerned about. It is not Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. So thank God.
Thank God.
And then of course the big daddy and of the show, Roman Reigns
Big
versus Cody
Daddy
Rhodes.
Tribal Chief.
Big Daddy. It'll be Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. I'm so conflicted on this, okay? And I have to tell you why. So
Why?
we've been just give me a second. Up into this, I mean, every single time we've talked about this match, it's like Cody's winning, Cody's winning, Cody's winning. But the reason why I'm a little conflicted is because somebody said this to me on Twitter and I hadn't considered it, and now I'm just like, that could happen. So I think it was I don't know if it was WWE or something. Someone tweeted out like who's gonna win between Roman and Cody, and I think I put a GIF of Cody or something, or a GIF. Sorry. And someone said, no, I think Roman's going to win because they're gonna want him to hit 1,000 days as champion, and that wouldn't be until May, I think. So then I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, I could see them doing that because if they want to solidify him as this like legendary champion of the modern era, then why would they take it away from him before he hits 1,000 days?
Because that's too predictable and it's too
Well,
it's too obvious.
and I think like that would make sense. If that were to happen, I would be incredibly disappointed because I feel like it's kind of
I'd
messed up to give Cody this moment and to
burn you
tease
to
it.
the ground.
Yeah, I just feel like that would be messed up.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people would be excited about it because Cody winning feels too predictable in a lot of ways as well. But I don't know that he needs to have the championship for 1,000 days
No, he doesn't.
for it to solidify him at this point. I'm pretty sure dude's been ruling the WWE for the last 3 years. So it's
Yeah,
kind of like
that's
what does 1,000 days mean other than being really easy for you to remember, like a number to remember. Um
yeah, I just don't see the
but
point of it. I don't see the point of it.
I'm just so conflicted. I'm conflicted. I want Cody to win. I want him to have that moment, but I would like it to be less predictable. But I would like the championships to be split, and I would hate for Cody to have to be the one to split them. But then I love the idea of him of Roman having it for 1,000 days. Like I'm so conflicted on what I would rather see happen that I kind of feel like I won't know until we watch for the next 4 weeks,
No.
or how the match ends. That would dictate how I feel. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you think you want to see something and then it happens and then you're like, never mind, I didn't want to see this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I've felt that once or twice.
Yeah.
You need to have Cody win. I'm sorry. It's his story. It's the whole Royal Rumble, Road to WrestleMania. It's literally been catered to Cody. Needs to win it, and then boom, he combines or gets rid of, or whatever the case may be, bringing it to one, and then that is where he becomes the double champ or double show champ. And then we get a draft in a few months that will clear things up.
Okay. We love it.
We love it.
So we also have matches that are not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure we all know
We're feeling it.
they're definitely going to be happening. We're just waiting for the announcement. Let's start with Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. This is the safest one to be like, this is a prediction, but it's kind of
Mhm.
not. They're already feuding. There's no point of them feuding if it's not going to happen at Mania. So the only outcome that I would be okay with is Seth Rollins winning. That's all.
Oh yeah, he would win. I
Well,
don't. It's look.
do you know his WrestleMania record?
Oh, it's like 2-5 or something.
No. So if you exclude his matches with the Shield, we're just talking about singles competition, he's 4-4.
Oh,
He's lost the last 3 Manias.
oh,
So
that's tough.
he's due for a win. And he took 3 for the team last year, losing a trilogy to Cody Rhodes. There's
Yeah,
no way they can give him this match with Logan Paul and have Logan go over on him.
you
Logan
can't
doesn't
have
need it.
Logan. No, Logan does not need to
Like,
go over.
no, it's like no one, people already know who Logan is. They either like him or they hate him. It's going to be difficult, I feel like, for them to kind of figure out what to do with him, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, because people have so many feelings about him already that it's like,
Mhm.
I don't know that you can really force people to try and change their opinions.
No, yeah,
Um,
not in this realm.
no, because that's like something where he's um too much of a public figure before stepping into the ring that people already have their minds made up. So Seth Rollins has to win this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It has to be.
I agree. I agree with that.
And it's gonna be a great match, but
Oh, they're gonna do so many, excuse me, like crazy spots, and the moves that they're gonna be doing in the ring. I just think it's going to be I won't say it's steal the show, but it's gonna raise some eyebrows for sure.
yeah, no, I think this will definitely be one of those ones that's gonna give you a lot of the highlight reel stuff that we're gonna see for like years upon
Absolutely,
years. And
absolutely.
I think a lot of it's gonna come from Seth too. I mean, we see, Logan likes to get those viral moments. We saw it with the Saudi Arabia match where he filmed himself jumping off the turnbuckle. We saw it in the Royal
Incredible.
Rumble with his spot with Ricochet. So obviously we're gonna see it in this match as well. But we have to remember that Seth Rollins ain't no chump, So
He's not.
he's gonna give us one of those moments as well. Then we also have Edge versus Finn Balor. Obviously, this is happening. Finn challenged Edge on Raw, but our spin to it is that it will be a Hell in a Cell match. And I forgot to mention this when I was talking to you about it. I saw someone say, which I would love for this to be what happens. I'm not sure it will, but how sick would it be for it to be Brood Edge? versus Demon Finn Balor.
That would
Like,
be that'd be
don't
iconic. That'd
the
be
second
electric.
the second that I read that, I was like, I wish I hadn't read this because now I want it to happen so bad,
So
and
bad. You want
it's not
oh,
gonna happen.
absolutely.
You know, because they made it seem like they did away with Finn's demon side, and so I'm like, is this gonna happen?
We can
Because
get
if
a
that's
V2. A little V2.
yeah, because I'm like, if they did get rid of it, if that's true, then I don't see this happening. But I feel like it would be kind of ridiculous to have Edge be the Brood Edge and then Finn just be normal Finn. Like,
That
unless
would not be yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
I mean, I guess unless Finn was down for that, I don't know, but I feel like it would be kind of cool for him to be able to tease like you're gonna see a side of me that you've never seen before, and blah blah blah
Mhm.
blah blah. I mean, this has been going on. Their feud's been going on for a year, basically at this point. So if this
Yeah,
is going to be the nail in the coffin that is Judgment Day versus Edge, it makes
just
the most sense
please,
to do that.
please.
But I
Yeah.
also feel like if that's the case, then Finn has to win.
Yeah, Edge doesn't need the win.
Edge doesn't need the win, but I would say if this is like Edge's last Mania, and I'm only saying that because I mean he's getting up there in age. He's not performing on a weekly basis. That's the only reason why I'm thinking this. Then I wouldn't be shocked if Edge wins because it's like his last Mania. But at the
Mhm.
same time, because he's a veteran and he understands how important it is for a younger or not as over talent
Yeah.
to go over, then he might
Most
be like, you know
most
what?
all the way
No,
back.
my last Mania is going to be to put Finn over because I believe in Finn and whatever.
Because he also brought him into the bloodline.
Well, into Judgment Day, but yeah.
Oh, that's what I meant. Sorry.
But yeah, I think that this match is going to be so good, and it's the reason of this matchup is the only reason why I'm okay with this feud extending. It's basically the only reason because
Oh, yeah.
otherwise, I'm done with the Judgment Day versus Edge, but
Oh, yeah, we all are.
Finn and Edge versus each other. And how cool would it be to have a stipulation match like this at Mania?
They haven't had one. I don't think they've had a Hell in a Cell Mania since 28.
So it's been a while.
It's been a
So
while.
and this is like the perfect one to do that, and to have it Brood Edge and Demon Finn. Like, come on,
What if they just both came up to the ring?
just normal.
Just like they just came up to the ring. Like there was an entrance ramp. They're just like the Brood entrance, Edge comes up from the ring, Demon King Finn Balor comes up through the ring, and it's just like
No Demon King. Has to be Demon.
what's the
Because I
difference?
hate Demon King. I hate Demon King. It's so dumb.
All right.
People don't really remember the demon being a Kane thing. You know what I mean? Like unless you are my age or older. I feel like there's not a whole lot of people that are like, I hear demon, I think of Kane, I think of Glenn Jacobs. Like there's no one like that. So let's stop
People
trying to
think,
be all
I
politically
think some
correct.
people think of Glenn Jacobs as a demon.
Yeah. When I think of Glenn Jacobs, I think demon, you know? But yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that would be great. And this is early predictions, but I really hope that's one of the ones that's
Early.
actually
Early.
actually correct. Yeah. Then we have Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt.
I cannot wait for this.
See, and this one I'm not excited about this one yet.
I'm so excited for this.
And as I said on the Raw Rewinds, I think I just need to see how it progresses over the next few weeks in order to get me invested in it. But right now, I'm just kind of like, this feels very random and I don't know how I feel about it.
I think this is going to be one of those matches of cinematic proportions where you're going to get some weird cuts, like very similar to the Cena match that him and Wyatt had, but you're going to get some real wrestling in there as well. And that's where I think it's going to get interesting. Like, I think because Bobby Lashley hasn't been really someone that we haven't really peeled off any of his layers. He's very just, I'm Bobby Lashley. Dun,
Mhm.
dun, like, and I hurt people and I'm dominant. Like,
'Cause I'm in the
n-
hurt business. I'm in
I'm
the
in the hurt
business of
business.
hurting people.
Like, you need to show a more vulnerable side of Bobby Lashley. And that's exactly what Bray Wyatt is with his feuds now, is that he is going to bring out the vulnerability in every single one of his opponents.
What about if this were a pre-taped match, the way that it was with Cena Bray or
Yeah, I'm
Bray?
fine with that.
I
I
feel like
just
that would be more interesting. Like, what if we had Lashley in the Firefly Funhouse?
yeah, like yeah, and he goes in, knocks on the door. It's like, where are you? Like looking
Yeah,
for him to kick his ass.
but it's like it kind of makes him go crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would be a little
Yeah,
bit more interesting because then it's more in Bray's environment. And that's the mind games that you're kind of talking about that you want to see with Bobby. I feel like that would be pretty cool.
that
I
would
feel like a lot of people that are going to the show wouldn't be disappointed in that, because it might be disappointing if you're looking forward to seeing Bray and Lashley like in person or
yeah.
something. But I feel like if you saw something like that, then it wouldn't it would kind of help you not feel that way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, they could do like a Mania 12 thing with like what Piper and Goldust did, where you start at one portion and then you fake a car chase, and then you get to the arena. It's like, oh my god, they're at the arena. This
Or
fight is still continuing. Like
or
I don't know.
even Bray and Matt Hardy, like that type of match, which is like,
Exactly.
it is
Yes,
the mower of lawns.
the mower of lawns.
Like,
Yes,
so weird. Oh my god.
he's amazing.
After he said things like that, I was trying to like put that into my everyday like verbiage. I would be
Vernacular.
trying to say things like that, like the fries of the French. Like I would say stupid
Well, we're
things
in
like
the
that.
yard of streams right now,
Yes.
Sarah. I mean,
Yes. Um who would you think would win? Like your initial
uh,
thoughts,
Bray
Bray?
Wyatt.
Yeah, he needs it, I think.
You
But I
need a
want
win
them
like
to
this.
give him a really good feud too, because I know a lot of people felt disappointed with the Bray LA Knight thing. That also, with the Firefly Funhouse, would allow Uncle Howdy to get involved. It would
Oh,
be, what if
he's
we saw Huskus come to life, or any of the other puppets
what if the
come to
puppets just
life?
attack Bobby?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Dude, I really, really want to rewatch Bray Wyatt versus John Cena because that one was so damn good.
I think
Like,
I
I don't care
might.
what anyone says, that has to be like one of the greatest matches of all time.
That's definitely one of the most creative. Absolutely.
Yes, I just I remember I was fangirling so hard when they had him come out as the NWO. I was just like, "Oh my god,
Oh, it's
don't."
incredible. That was like such a just little detail.
So
Oh,
good.
incredible.
But yeah, I think that we'll kind of get a little bit more insight as the weeks go on this one, to kind of maybe get a little more of a feel about what
Mm-hmm.
direction they'll go in. So it's
Mm-hmm.
still a little bit early. Then of course we think that it's going to be Dominic Mysterio versus Daddy Mysterio. This one Ray's going to win,
Yeah,
obviously.
I have said this on every show we have talked about. It's gonna be Dom, Ray to open up the show, and then a little added detail I'm gonna add right now because thought about it when I was driving around myself. Dom's gonna come out in a lowrider,
Oh my god,
maybe
again.
with mommy, maybe not. And it's gonna he may and this one I'm just doing because it's just the ice cherry on top. Is he comes out to Viva la Raza
Oh
and
my
just
god.
if he came
Okay,
out and just went full Eddie to for the mind games and like I don't know. I feel like they should be doing a lot more with the fact that his adoption was hanging in the balance at SummerSlam
and he has a
and
mullet,
he has a
like
mullet
early
now.
Eddie.
Like exactly like I feel like we need to be referencing this. This is what wrestling is all about. If Mae Young's illegitimate white hand can get some airtime on the Raw
Stop.
1000th episode, then I
Stop.
think that this guy can get some. I'm just saying.
Okay, I think I'm as much as I would hate it, just because, like, oh my god, I just, Eddie's one of my favorites, so I would like hearing his music at WrestleMania would just make me a wee bit emotional. Um, that would be the best decision for them to do, and I think it's very much like what Seth had done, coming out to the Shield music or something like that, or when he was against Cody and he wore the black and yellow polka dots, So it's like those are the types of things that you remember about certain matches. So I think with this, that would be amazing. I hadn't even considered that.
That
And
would
so you
be
saying that, I'm like, now I want it to happen.
so good.
So good. And you kind of alluded to this too when we briefly talked about the cringe segment between Dominic and Charlotte, and you said that you felt like he was trying to be
Oh
early,
my
like
god,
Latino
to a
heat.
T.
So if that's what he was doing, then maybe again that's laying the groundwork
It's
for his little transformation into becoming Eddie Guerrero. Plus, he does the Three Amigos, he does the shimmy, he does the frog splash. It's like it's already there. So him totally taking
exact
all of that and combining it into like I'm coming out in a lowrider. That would imagine the heat. Like I don't like Dominic. Like
No,
I don't, but
no,
I feel like I'd be marking out for that
no, I would
because that would be
fucking
so
lose
good.
it. I would
That would be so
fucking
good.
lose it.
I almost wish that we could watch Mania together, but
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I watch by myself because my sister doesn't even watch it with me. I
I
just sit
don't
there
know
and I'm
what
like
I'm
marking
doing for
out by
Mania.
myself in my room. Like you're in the basement. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the amount of times I go upstairs, man, it's like you are just screaming, and I'm like, "Well, this just happened, and then this," and he's like, "That is just a load of nonsense to me right
And you're
now.
like,
Like,
no, it's not. It's my whole
it's my
life.
life, Dad. It's real to me, too."
Um, but I am very excited because I would also love to see. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I would love it in a way to not see Ray put his hands on Dom until Mania. And that's the thing. It'll be like a tease of like he agrees to it, but then it's gonna be like, will he? Won't he? Is he gonna fight his son? Is he not gonna fight his son? And then he does it, and then
Oh, if it's
it
like
doesn't happen until Mania.
he's like, "I won't fight you, but I will wrestle you," or
Yeah,
something cliche
yeah.
of that nature.
Which
Oh, yeah,
doesn't which I mean, given how Ray talks on the mic, it would make you feel that way anyway.
exactly. Like, you just book it, alright? Just book it already.
Yeah, no, it has to happen. And then we have Austin Theory versus John Cena for the US Championship, which I think we'll get some sort of feeling for this next week on Raw, which you will be at Raw.
I didn't make it part of the 3 count 'cause I didn't wanna annoy you that much, but I did pull trig on some tickets today. I
Yeah,
did.
I know.
I had to. I got my buddy Sora, the science guy, going with me, and I mean, it's John Cena, Logan Paul, the Bloodline, Cody Rhodes, who I don't think I've seen in
Seth
person,
Rollins,
Seth freaking Rollins.
Becky, Lita, Trish.
I'm gonna see Lita.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
saw
I haven't.
I saw Lita at an indie wrestling event. Isn't that weird?
That is kind of
I
strange.
totally forgot about it until I think when I was cutting clips and I was sitting there and I was like trying to think. I was like, have I ever seen Lita? And then I was like, yeah, wait a second. Yes, I did at the only indie event I've ever gone to. And the only reason I went was for EC3. That's the only reason I went. And she was there.
Incredible.
So yeah, but that
I
would
would
be cool.
it's gonna be so fun. I'm so excited.
So we'll definitely get some insight into Austin Theory versus John Cena. They will be coming face to face. Theory's already talking his ish. I'm very excited to see how this transpires because I've said on here for the last several weeks that I really wanted to see Cena answer the US Open Challenge. But I wouldn't be mad if he agrees to a match or something on this Monday's Raw. Like I wouldn't be as I really wanted it to be more of a surprise, and I think that's why I would love for it to be him answering the US Open Challenge. But I mean, I don't know that I would be upset if it was like, no, they like agree or something, you know?
Oh, you can't. Yeah, that's a match win because if they agree to it and then they can build it up properly, get a
Yeah.
little heartstrings. Like I idolized you, and then you became exactly what you said you would never be. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
So this is the thing. I've told you that I shouldn't watch interviews with people that I don't like
you're gonna
because
get
it makes me like them.
you're gonna get suckered in.
I just saw another one with Theory.
No way.
and he was talking
How
about
in
John
love
Cena.
with him are you?
I'm just like, I feel like I could be his friend, you
There
know?
it is! There it is!
And this was like young Theory. I don't even know if he was in WWE yet.
Oh,
Like
this is
this
an
was like
older interview.
yeah, this is an older interview. He
Oh.
did it with Chris Van Vliet. And
Oh, I know him.
he was asking him about like, oh, who did you look up to? You've talked about John Cena, that you looked up to him and you were a big fan of his. Who else? And he just immediately just kept talking about John Cena, and he was saying that other than the fact that he was a big fan, he said that he had a lot of difficulties through like school, like high school and stuff, that he was bullied because he was smaller, that he had a difficult family life because, his dad wasn't around and whatever. And so Cena coming out and saying like never give up was very powerful for him and like helped him to keep going and whatever. And I was just like, why do you have to have one of these like viral video reasons for why you like John Cena? Like, why couldn't it just be like, oh yeah, I was just like, he was the guy, so he was my favorite? But I'm like, of course you got to pull on my emotional, the heartstrings here and just be like, okay. So anyway, oh my God, my cat, I swear to God. Remy? Oh my God, she just tried to take me out. She straight up just tried to take me out.
She's trying to take your spot.
Oh my God, she just tried to unplug my microphone as she ripped out my earbud. God.
She's trying to come at your number one contendership.
Anyway,
That
so
is
I'm all in on Austin Theory right now, and I assume that this is a match that John Cena is coming in to put him over because that is the type of dude he is, and Theory's gonna win, and it's gonna be like, see, I am better than you, and that's it.
Yeah, I really kind of have the same thoughts on that
Oh
one.
yeah, well, I'm very excited to see this match. I'm very excited to see.
Me too.
I would love to see Theory even kind of like troll him and come out in like Cena's gear, like if we see him in like jorts.
What if
and
he came
like
out to basic thugonomics?
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Because remember when they were celebrating the 20 years of Cena, and then they had a bunch of the superstars dressed up like Cena, and he was the one that was basically cosplaying as Cena. I'm all for it, with like the big chain, the spinner chain. Come on,
And that was in his closet. He didn't
I
have
know,
to,
right?
that was not WWE's
Yeah.
props. That was
that wasn't at the
own.
warehouse. That was hit. What do you mean? He bought it.
So funny.
Yeah, I would love that. I think that would be cool. I'm just excited. I'm excited that John Cena is going to be there because he is the love of my life. So, another match that we kind of, it was made a challenge on SmackDown. We have Gunther versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship. I am obsessed with Imperium.
Really?
Like, I have to say this every single week because I feel like the obsession grows. I'm like obsessed with all of them now. It started off as Vinci. It's all of them now. Also, speaking of the entire group, I love how Samantha introduces them, because she introduces them in accents. Have you noticed like how they would pronounce their names? So it's like, it's not Ludwig Kaiser, it's like Ludwig Kaiser, and it's like Giovanni Vinci. It's like, girl.
Vinci.
Yeah, and then and Gunther. I was just like, you are a queen. You are so good at this.
Oh, Sam Irvine
So
should just be.
if Imperium is not going to be in a match, which is not looking like that, I am so here for this, for them to be at least ringside. And Gunther's going to win. Gunther, whatever.
Yeah.
Walter
You got to
is
give him
going
his
to win.
minute.
But this is going to be a great match too. It's probably going to be very reminiscent of the match with Sheamus. And I am here for it. I'm more here for this than it, whatever the speculation was, which was Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. I'm much more here for this, for Drew McIntyre.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm more interested in that just because Lesnar isn't the same performer that he used to be, where he actually did professionally wrestle and like do professional wrestling moves. More so now it's just like, look at me, I can throw you around and do suplexes, and I just don't see how that would jive well with Gunther. who's very much like to the book, like I'm a professional wrestler, this is what I do.
Yeah.
I'm very
A lost
technical.
art right now, really.
Yeah, and so I just think that this match has more of that type of feel to it, where I think I would be more entertained and it would be more like technical, as I said.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
absolutely. This could be a very technical match, very hard
yeah,
hitting,
yeah.
big meaty men slapping meat type of
Big
match.
old meaty men, big old slapping meaties,
Slapping those meats.
slapping some meaties. Very excited. This match of the night potential, I would say.
This could steal a show. This is a
Yes.
show stealer.
Yeah, because
I'll agree
this
there.
has the potential to be a main event, like, and it's probably not going to be, but I feel
On
like
any other
this.
show, absolutely.
Yeah, and so, it's got that big match feel already, and it's not even confirmed, but it's obviously going to happen. Um, then we have, one that we've speculated and discussed even weeks before. I mean, we've been talking about this for months. The Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for both the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships. If we are going according to what we've been talking about up until this point, I would assume we get Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, you know, ending their reunification story by winning the championships and taking a sliver out of the bloodline. Enjoying their downfall. That's my prediction.
I it's the writing's too much on the wall. Like the WrestleMania in Hollywood is going to be the fall of the bloodline
Mhm.
with Sami Zayn and KO. When do you think they actually team up, we'll say, or join forces to say, screw it, let's do it together? And is it like
My
the week before?
I think it'll be like a 1 or 2 weeks before, because I think that I wouldn't be surprised if it's a week before, but then we see them on SmackDown as well, so it's not kinda like a one-off thing where it's like, "Oh, yeah, of course they're coming together a week before
Mhm.
because you knew it was happening." I think that if that were to happen, it would have to be Raw and SmackDown that week, because otherwise I feel like it would just feel too last minute or too
Oh, yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't like that. Um, but yeah, I think it'll be a while because there's still a lot in that storyline between Sammy and Kevin that I think is interesting enough to draw it out for a couple more weeks and not have it just be they come face to face. Kevin's like, I don't forgive you. And then a week or two later, it's like they're best buddies again. Like there's still stuff there that they can
Yeah, they haven't
do
hashed
that I
out.
think is
Yeah,
interesting, you know?
yeah, I agree with that. And it's
Yeah.
just the Usos need to fall at this point. Like this, it doesn't matter about how many wins, or title changes. This just is a necessary one. The bloodline needs to fall, and there's no better place for to have them fall than at Mania.
Yeah. And then we got to figure out how they split the tag team titles too, because we need them to not
Unfortunately,
be that. But that's a conversation for another day, because I don't even want to begin to try and figure that out in my
that's
mind
a
because
whole podcast discussion.
I know, because I mean, we're already having difficulties trying to figure it out with the WWE and Universal Championship. So
Yeah,
that leaves, I mean, at this point, it's difficult to figure out. Becky, Bailey, Lita, Trish, Damage Control. There are lots of possibilities here. We could have the tag titles defended. Could be Lita and Becky versus Damage Control. Could be Lita and Becky versus Ronda and Shayna. It could be a 3-on-3 with Becky, Lita, and Trish versus Damage Control. We could have
be
Bailey
anything.
versus Trish in a singles match. Like there's so many possibilities here that we're not going to get any sort of clarity on until next Raw or the week after that. And I'm still not sure how I feel about it. We just talked about it a couple days ago when we talked about Raw, and
Yeah,
I'm not on board with anything really at this point.
I know. It's weird because you want to see the women's tag titles defend at Mania. In my opinion, I don't think that Damage Control should have lost the tag titles. If
Mhm.
you do a title change, it should have been done at the grandest stage of them all, pay-per-view coming up in a few weeks.
Mhm.
It's weird. So in what I'm seeing from this or gathering from this is that they're trying to do a six-man with this and try to just make it one big, you know, getting over push type of match for Damage Control, for Becky, and then have Lita and Trish have their moment in the sun. And then my own personal prediction of what could happen is that it will eventually like Damage Control wins, we'll say, because
Mhm.
I mean they have to be honest.
Yeah.
Damage Control wins, and then you see within the next few weeks and a Backlash if they don't keep the feud going, um, and then you're gonna see Trish and Lita turn on Becky, and then they're gonna be the heels who, you know, kind of like remember when the New Age Outlaws came back for like a hot minute and won the tag
Mhm.
titles
Mhm.
and did
Yep.
their like we're gonna have that come about, but it'll be a little bit longer than them, and they'll do their thing and get some women over and, you know, make some stars in that sense. But it's just weird right now. We're in a real purgatory.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, if they do go with, like, the tag team championships being defended, I feel like as much as I love Trish, I feel like Bayley deserves a better singles match than being against Trish because I also feel like that's just being overplayed. That card with the women is being overplayed where it's like, you know, one of the top women in the company versus Lita, or one of the top women in the company versus Trish, one of them versus whoever,
Yeah.
like whoever the legend is that they bring in of the women, like as great as it is, it's like I'm kind of like I'm not that intrigued by it
Agree.
anymore. And since Bailey hasn't had a match on Mania since 2020, 2019, whatever year it was, I feel like
Crazy.
she deserves a better match than being the, oh, we're checking this off because we got a legend, so we need her to be in a match. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. So this is a match that I'm not exactly interested in, but I am all for there being one or two more women's matches being added. But I could see one of them being a pre-show match. I could see it not ending up on the main show.
No, they would put on the main show. You have to.
You have to.
You have to put it on the main show. This is not a pre-show type match.
I
This is
guess we
not.
shall see. We shall see. So those are our predictions. So I want to get into the three
Yeah,
counts.
we've long. This has
I
been a
know.
long episode for all our peeps out there, but that's fine, you know,
Well,
because we
Monday or Tuesdays was 1 hour and 20 minutes, so we still got some time.
well, it's Mania season. It's busy
Mhm.
season for us.
Mhm.
There's a lot to talk about, a lot to get through, so it's gonna be a little longer because it's WrestleMania season. All right,
Mhm.
3 count. Number 1. So I was going to look this card up. We got AEW Revolution on Sunday. And this is their I don't know what type of pay-per-view it is, but just another pay-per-view. They don't do as many as WWE, so
Yeah.
that's why they're a little bit bigger. And we have MJF versus Bryan Danielson in an Iron Man match, which I'm not kidding you. I think I'm most excited for that. That's going to be such a good match, and there's a lot going on with that feud where it's getting pretty personal. Like it's getting really
I
personal.
read a little bit of what Brian said to him. So I saw that was quite personal.
It's unbelievable, and I will say that anyone who said that Bryan Danielson could not handle himself on a mic has really not been paying attention to
Mhm.
wrestling because that man is one of the best talents in the world when it comes to the sport of wrestling. So we have that match. Get this, Sarah. We have the Guns, who are Daddy
Mhm.
Ass's children,
Mhm.
the Acclaimed. Everybody loves the Acclaimed. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and then Danhausen and Orange Cassidy for the AEW tag titles.
Okay.
Danhausen might be one of my favorite comedic characters in the business right now. The man is so funny. And then we have John Moxley versus Hangman Page in a Texas death match.
Mhm.
Very excited for that. I know you're not the hardcore type of gal, but
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the TNT Championship. That'll be a banger.
Mhm.
And then Jamie Hayter versus Saraya versus Ruby Soho,
Okay.
and that'll be a good. Jamie Hayter, maybe one of my favorite female wrestlers right now. She hits hard. She's so
Mhm.
good in the ring, and like she's just a badass.
I see. Yeah, I see. She's like trending, or at least I see a lot of the people that I follow that watch AEW, they're constantly talking about her.
Everyone
So
is a hater fan. They really are. Uh, oh yeah, we got more, right? No, that's it. Oh, and then the World Trios Championship, the
mm.
Elite versus the House of Black,
Hey,
which is
wait, is that my Bay Cesaro? Is he in that one? No.
no,
Oh, okay.
Cesaro's not there,
I mean,
sadly.
excuse me.
Claudio,
Claudio
Claudio, Claudio,
Castagnoli.
Claudio Castagnoli. He
Ugh.
fought tonight, actually, for the Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor just uh, re-debuted
Is that
on
on brand for me?
to be with
Claudio on
Claudio.
brand?
Absolutely, that is
Okay.
so on brand. Yeah, it is
Okay.
so on brand for your type of guy. Not even close.
Claudio.
Claudio
Imagine
Castagnoli.
him in Imperium. I
See,
think
that's a good fit.
I would die.
That would be a really good fit.
Mm,
And then Ricky Starks, the absolute one, against the Ocho. The
okay.
Ocho, Chris Jericho, with the Jericho Appreciation Society band from ringside. I am thrilled. This is going to be a really good card. I'm very excited. And as anyone who's been a fan of the show knows, I love my AEW wrestling. It's so great. It's so good. So
Yeah,
good.
I'm not there yet, but
You're not
maybe.
there yet. We're going to get you there. That's why we have this show. We're going to slowly, baby steps, to get you there. And then two, I have alluded to this, or we've mentioned this. I have rewatched, or am in the process of rewatching every single Mania leading up to the day. I started, I think, last Thursday, maybe last
Yeah,
Friday. I am on 17.
it's insane.
And thank God for multiple televisions, because I've been throwing it on after I get home from delivering fish all day. And I throw it on, and I'm not kidding you, Sarah. The difference, I try to talk about this with my dad, but he just doesn't get it. But the difference between manias, and not just the, card and, the whole semantics of it, it's different. You can tell that eras are changing. It's
Mhm.
very weird. So like 1 to 5, I wrote some notes here and I'll go through them as a little bit because there are a lot of them. But like for instance, something that has been going on is that you probably know about, or everyone knows, that Vince does not like the national anthem. He prefers America the Beautiful.
I did
And
not
the
know that.
only Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, he does
No.
not. He prefers America the Beautiful, thinks it's a better song to open with, everything. And
Okay.
the only 2 times that they've sung the national anthem were at WrestleMania 1, and it was Mean Gene Okerlund who sang it.
Oh.
And then at WrestleMania 2000, I think, Lillian Garcia was the next person.
Mm.
So, and David, that is actually the next one I'll be watching is Mania 17. So I'm excited for that. But just I'll get a few comments here. I mean, Hogan coming out at WrestleMania 9. You know what? I'll end with this theory. I believe Hulk Hogan was I believe that Hulk Hogan is the first ever Money in the Bank winner and cash in because of WrestleMania. And this is, just hear me out. Hulk Hogan was in a match against Money Incorporated. Erwin R. Shyster, who, if anyone playing along at home, is Bray Wyatt's dad, he has a briefcase. Okay. And in that briefcase, it's just a lot of things. But Hogan gets a hold of the briefcase after the match. After the match, he gets a hold of the briefcase, and there's money in it, there's papers in it, whatever.
Mhm.
Papers are in it. So then he has a backstage interview, and he says that whoever wins between Yokozuna and Bret Hart, he will be challenging them to a match. I mean, there were papers in that briefcase. What were those papers of? I don't know. I'm just speculating.
We don't
And then
know.
he comes out right away after that match concludes and just squashes Yokozuna and
Mm.
wins the WWF title. Is
Mm.
that not the money in the bank briefcase concept?
Yeah, that sounds like it to me.
That is the only good thing that came out of that WrestleMania. I mean, the fact that Bobby Heenan was riding backwards on a camel. I mean, there's just so much going on. But yeah, I just we will be going more in depth with my rewatches and stuff as we record. But yeah, I just had to tease that out now because we got a lot going on there, especially because I'm at 17 and I mean, where are you at?
20 is a good one too.
20 is it's if when I get to 20, I'm gonna really sit and watch that. I'm
That's
excited for that.
that has one of my favorite matches on it. So
Mm.
favorite
And
matches
then
of all time. I mean,
yes. And then 3, because this is long. What match do you think we are going to get announced that we talked about, alluded to? What match do you think we're going to get talked about this week? Get confirmed.
Rollins and Logan Paul on Monday, I think will be confirmed because Logan will be there. And for SmackDown, Gunther and McIntyre. I think those will be the next 2 announced.
Okay. I'm gonna agree with you there. That makes sense. That makes sense there. So
Yes.
all right, that does it for us in the podcast. Thank you for guys for tuning into this Pitts and Sara Wrestling podcast on Sarah's YouTube channel, which if you were watching on our Twitters, make sure you go to Sarah's YouTube channel at Sarah Marshall XO and check out all our clips. If you don't have time to watch this, I almost said 120, hour 20-minute show, we have clips all made up for you on her archive. So go check those out. Follow us on Twitter at Pat_Pitts and at SMarshXO. Follow me on Instagram at Pitsy35 and at SMarsh_. As I mentioned, this is the podcast. We're on all podcasting platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, you name it, we're there. Hit that subscribe button, leave a 5-star rating and a review. We'd love to hear from you. And we get some comments from the YouTube section as well. Sarah's get some love there, so go and show some love as well. And yeah, that does it for us here. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you could do it. All you gotta do is try. We'll see you next episode.